This is the Celts from Kenya. I cleared out of my beard here. One of her early works there, and appropriate for this March 14th Pi Day, St. Patrick's Day weekend, which in all intents and purposes, St. Patrick's Day weekend has now become self-quarantine weekend. Pretty much all across the world due to the coronavirus, which we talked about a little bit last week. And we're going to talk a whole heck of a lot about on tonight's episode of Dylan Knows, episode 340, Viral St. Patrick's Day. So every year I try to put on my St. Patty's Day outfit. And she got my brand new shirt today. It says, "Go home, snakes, you're drunk." It is St. Patrick himself. Got my St. Patrick's Day leprechaun hat. I'll be wearing that at work on Tuesday because I still have to go to work despite everyone else being off. We'll talk about and this week has been probably the biggest news week in a long time when it comes to dangerous pandemic, Armageddon, end of the world scenario type things. So because of the coronavirus, most of the stories you're going to see me talking about today are going to be about coronavirus. I've got 2.5 sections on coronavirus, and then 1.5 sections of regular news. So I got regular news, but I got mostly coronavirus stuff. Most of the stuff you probably already know, but I just figured this is the news event of the week. If I didn't do the coronavirus stuff, this episode would last maybe about half an hour. So, but here we are, it is a interesting time in the world right now. I should see if I can move this down a little more, get my St. Patrick's Day leprechaun in there, actually, flamingo in there. So this, we're going to talk about coronavirus, all the space and outer space stuff, some weird things going on in space, some interesting things discovered in space coming up. What else do we got coming on that's not coronavirus related? Glow-in-the-dark hair, Armageddon lizards. I'm sorry, not Armageddon lizards. It looks like some animal news, nothing really, stupid people stuff, Corgi apartment, Godzilla stuff, Jaws stuff. That's not Jaws. Oh, Jurassic Park. Excuse me, Jurassic Park, not Jaws. I was in the neighborhood. My handwriting is extra crappy this week, so hopefully we'll be able to things and all kinds of little some neat things here about that. So what I'll do is I'll do my for the first, however long it takes to do this stuff, news things. I'll do some coronavirus stuff, then go back and do the news things, and then end on coronavirus stuff. And we'll get into some of the stuff going on, or lack of stuff going on, I should say, due to this. But it's still St. Patrick's Day, and there's still all kinds of stuff you can do. One thing you can do is you can find the instructions on how to create chocolate-baked Guinness donuts and Irish cream with Irish cream glaze. So if you want to have a special treat for St. Patrick's Day, you can get yourself some Guinness donuts and Irish cream glaze. Sounds pretty interesting and pretty cool to me about that. One of the things I'm doing for St. Patrick's Day is I'm reading a book called When the Irish Invaded Canada, written by Christopher Klein. I'm a history guy. I've never heard of this story in history because I'm technically not Irish, even though I like to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. But I had never heard of this story in history because, I'm a history major, we never really discussed it too much. But the basic story behind it, I'm only about page 50 of like 400 pages, so I got a long way to go. But in those 50 pages, they set up how all this is going to come about, like the stuff that Ireland was going through in the 1800s. So after the Civil War, both soldiers, and pretty impressive numbers, 48,000, something like that. I'll have to find out for sure when I read the story, invaded Canada 3 different times, and they actually took over a portion of land for a while there. They actually won one of their battles in there, but they tried to take over Canada 3 times during the late 1800s. Now, people are wondering, well, why would you do that? Because at that time, Canada was under the thumb of the British Empire. And so what they wanted to do was, because Ireland was under the thumb of Britain, and basically said, we'll give up our claim on Canada if you give up your claim on Ireland. And it's a good idea in effect, but this book is going to explain how it did not work 3 times, though they did have some successes. But it's an interesting story, and Build-A-Bear has Nightmare Before Christmas bears now. I mean, not that it's Christmas or Halloween or anything like that, but it's always good to see, Build-A-Bear gets good stuff. And if you like Nightmare Before Christmas, that's always a good little present you can get for people. So that's a fun little thing to do. Trolls Oreos. I guess there's a Trolls movie, I guess, is still scheduled to come out. We'll cover that more. With the caramel corn Oreos, possible. I'm trying to remember for sure, but they have done, and actually the popping candy in the Oreo cream actually isn't too bad. So that's kind of interesting. Hard going on now. It makes perfect sense. She's got red hair. Mary Jane's got red hair, and Felicia Day's got a nice voice, and Mary Jane has a nice voice and body. So it's a good fit, I think, and it would be neat to see her as maybe a live action Mary Jane at some point as well. The Romans, tomorrow, interesting, today's Pi Day. Tomorrow is Ides of March, when Julius Caesar was murdered, but this is something else. Romans used to with flying penis amulets. They must have looked like flying penises, and perhaps, maybe, we should bring that back and create some flying penis amulets to see if we can ward off this coronavirus or COVID-19. Spam, 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 spam. Spam stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut is an actual thing. I am afraid to try it, so if you have, let me know how it is, but that's kind of weird. But it's a thing. So is funnel cake soda. It's from a specific soda from the South, but someone posted it in a meme and said this is why the South has diabetes. But it just seems weird. What would funnel cake soda taste like? I actually kind of intrigued by what it might taste like, so that might be kind of interesting to think about as well. Speaking of drinks, Hostess is releasing a line of iced lattes that taste like Twinkies, Ding Dongs, Snowballs, etc. Their entire run of their like sponge cake sandwich type things. They're now making drinks that taste like them, iced lattes that taste like them. So a Twinkie iced latte flavored thing. I guess it might not be too bad. And Ding Dong's got just chocolate and cream, and Snowballs probably have a little bit of coconut in it. Might be interesting. Pokemon Go has got some stuff going on. This weekend is I'll get into this all in coronavirus. Was supposed to be Community Day. That's been canceled, but we'll get into that later. But what they are doing is it is the beginning of Go Battle League. Everything you've been doing up to that point has been preseason stuff. Now the actual league starts, so this will go till out in like August or something like that, and then they'll do a season 2 or whatever. But because of that release, they are spawning more fighting types this weekend. Giratina, who is good against fighting types, or could be used, I guess, in the Go Battle stuff. Good against fighting types would be is out as one of the. It is a Genesect mythical creature event. Genesect is a mythical Pokemon that will be in EX raids. Oh shoot, we have an EX raid tomorrow. Genesect will be a Pokemon in EX raids soon, but right now for $7.99, you'll be able to get a ticket to the Genesect early event, and you'll be able to catch Genesect early. And there's going to be some. Aldi is releasing tiny sofas for your dog, and you think, I guess you could use them for your cat as well. When I was looking at that, it's like, well, yeah, it's for dogs, I suppose, but cats would probably like it as well. But they're little tiny sofas just for your dog, which is kind of weird because Aldi's mostly a grocery store. What are they doing building sofas for dogs? I don't know. A light up umbrella is like having a lightsaber. It's a special umbrella that the handle lights up like a lightsaber color, the red or the green or the. Starbucks has a Twix Frappuccino out now. So milk cookie stuff, you can't go wrong, and that would probably make an excellent Frappuccino. So that might actually not be a bad one to try. Starbucks is also releasing really soon as well. So they're pretty nice looking stuff. The smallest dinosaur ever was found trapped in amber. So it's a little pea-sized dinosaur about that big, but he's in the amber. So that's kind of interesting. Jurassic Park people could try to get the DNA from him, but you get a little dinosaur running around going, "Rawr, rawr, gonna get you." Hopefully, things are still releasing. Pixar's summer film Soul released. Oh shoot, I forget her name. She was on 30 Rock and Saturday Night Live. I don't know who. It'll probably come when I least expect it. But they showed a teaser for it a while back, and it was about a jazz guy who gets a gig, and he's getting himself all prepped up, and he ends up falling through a manhole, and he dies, and his spirit shows up, and that's all that we know about it. Well, this trailer, which is the second one, more full length, is going to spend a lot of time in the afterlife with him trying to get back, which we'll talk about. Again, I said the coronavirus stuff in just a little bit. So we'll see about that. Richard E. Grant, who was just in Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker, was in LA Story. It's been a bunch of other stuff. He has been cast in the Loki TV show. And a lot of people are speculating that he will be playing Kang the Conqueror, who is supposedly going to be making an appearance in the show. And looking at him and thinking about Kang, it actually might be a really good casting choice. Nike has pink and purple sneakers, releases pink and purple sneakers. I think those are like Lizzie McGuire's colors. So they're like Lizzie McGuire shoes. So if you're a fan of Lizzie McGuire, you like just pink and purple together on a shoe. Well, now's a chance to get it. Chick-fil-A will be selling their sauces. They ever ask you for extra sauce, their different sauces. Well, you can now get those sauces at Chick-fil-A, or I don't know if they're in the grocery store. I think they might just be at Chick-fil-A. But you will be able to get them. So that's pretty cool. My Hero Academia had a movie come out recently called Heroes Rising, and it has made $13 million, which actually is very impressive considering that it has had a very staggered release and very few showings. It has still made a ton of money, more than some movies out there right now, and it's pretty good. So they are extraordinarily happy about that. We played My Hero Academia Monopoly tonight. It's exactly like regular Monopoly, except instead of properties, you're buying superheroes to help you with your league or whatever, and then instead of houses and hotels, you get trophies and something else as well. But it's just basically, general day, and play it again tomorrow a little bit. Though tomorrow we're going to probably roll out the Lord of the Rings trilogy for my daughter who hasn't seen it yet, so he's just going to not have to play Fortnite for a while. But he'll have plenty of chances in the next couple weeks. I'll explain why. But the Fortnite minutes XP, and you don't buy the properties. If you land on them and they're unclaimed, you can claim them. So that's just the kind of thing. It's kind of neat. And if someone lands on, they lose XP and stuff like that. But there's a whole lot of us. You can build walls, storm lowers, and the game goes a lot quicker than regular Monopoly. So we actually went through that game pretty quickly yesterday. We also got them into Exploding Kittens. So that's pretty good. We're going to probably do Throw Burrito, which is another game from Exploding Kittens people, which would be fun to do. So we've got some game stuff coming up that we'll be able to take our mind off of things. What the hell? Oh, the first ever Native American Native American owned film studio opens up. So it's a film studio in New Mexico where the money to, the taxes to make movies in, the tax breaks to make movies in New Mexico are outstanding. So a lot more movies are being filmed in New Mexico. Well, a Native American group has come together and created their own motion picture company, and hopefully we'll start seeing some movies from them really soon that'll focus more on the Native American experience and other stuff as well, which I think would be a really cool idea to see some of that stuff coming up. Some science stuff. A new star type has been discovered where it pulses to one side. So it's a star, but instead of it just being like this, it's a star, but one side is pulsing than the other side. So that's kind of an interesting thing that they've never seen before, but it has been spotted, and they're doing their investigations on it, taking a look at it to see what's going to become of that. An extremely hot exoplanet has been discovered where it rains. Where is that? Where it rains molten iron, which is a lot like, if you go to Titan, the moon of Saturn, and you go on their property, it rains there, it'll rain gasoline that you can use in your car. So it's kind of neat to hear. Well, it's not kind of neat because you would die if molten iron fell on you, but the fact that if you were on that planet and a rainstorm comes up and it turns out to be molten iron, then wow, that's how hot it is. Of course, we wouldn't be able to live there anyway because it's raining molten iron. And finally, the North Star, Polaris, not Venus, as a lot of people think it is, has been acting, shall we say, odd lately. There have been fluctuations in the distance from Earth. Scientists have been testing the distance from Earth and it's been all over the place. They don't know what's going on about that. So they're investigating that more and more now. All right, so first up, we're going to do at 10:24 p.m. Coronavirus 1. Coronavirus 1, or COVID-19 Part 1. Again, most of all this stuff you probably already know. But as I said, this is the big stuff that happened this weekend. I brought it up. First and foremost, here in, pretty much not just here, but in a lot of the states now, schools have been shut down for 2 weeks. My kids will be home the next 2 weeks away from school, but the school has sent home packets of work for them to do, and my daughter can go online and do work as well to keep going and keep them going up. Now we'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen with how they're going to cover for it. I would assume they're probably going to cancel spring break, but we'll see if that's still something that's going to happen. But that is what's going on with that. So my kids and a lot of kids, all the kids in Maryland actually have to stay home from school for 2 weeks. And then there are other states, some are doing 3 weeks. Some are also doing 2 weeks as well. So we got all that going on. Every sport in the world is done for the most part. Major League Baseball, which is this big sport now, is delaying opening day and has suspended spring training. So we don't know when all that's going to come back together and get going again. So there's going to be no baseball in the foreseeable future. The XFL, NBA, and NHL all suspended their seasons. The NCAA in college, has canceled the championships for the division. So like the Big Ten championship and the ACC and the Big East and all those championships, the champions for the most part, I guess. And there are no men's and women's NCAA tournament. The March Madness, bracketology, all that stuff ain't going to happen this year. So for the first time in forever, there will be no NCAA men's or women's tournaments, and the championships for those have also all been canceled. NASCAR and the Masters were going to keep running, but they've decided they're going to cancel this stuff. WrestleMania is still on, but I think the new WrestleMania is in Florida, and Florida wants to shut them down, but WrestleMania is refusing to shut during a fight over toilet paper. I'm still trying to figure out the whole toilet paper thing because, I think I understand it, because if people contract the virus, they're going to have to self-quarantine themselves. They won't be able to go to stores to get the toilet paper. They're afraid to go to stores to get toilet paper, so they want to make sure they have toilet paper. So they hoarded the toilet paper as if it was snowing. And so it's been insane. And it's not just that. The grocery stores have been absolutely insane the last few days. You at least wash your hands, stuff like that. You really should be okay going to the grocery stores and buying stuff, because the disease is not airborne. It is done through touch, or someone coughs in your face and it gets on you that way. It's through the skin. So, but it's not airborne in the sense of that. So this lockdown is happening all over the world. Different areas are doing different things. Italy has locked down its entire country for the most part, so no one is allowed outside. I'll get into some Italian stories later. France had just the event started. Kids that were in lockdown in China were given an app by their teachers on their phone, which would send phone companies would delete the app. So all the kids who didn't want to do their homework through this app, they gave bad grades to the app that teachers were using to send out homework, and the telephone deleted it. So they found a way around the Sorry, I knew it was going to fall, because when I was going back there, it was sliding. Sold. Other St. Patrick's Day events have been canceled all over the area. There's supposed to be one over at Owings, in the Owings Mills metro area. Today they canceled that. There's other parades, stuff like that been canceled. The Chicago one's a big one because it is a huge event for Chicago, and this is when they poured the dye into the river and turn it green. So a little bit of a disappointment for a lot of people probably, but oh well, whatever. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson are putting on a familiar face. They have the coronavirus. They contracted it in Australia, so they are now quarantined and trying to recover down in Australia. So our thoughts and prayers go to them. Hopefully they get better quick. Trudeau's, the Prime Minister of Canada, Trudeau's wife, has been infected by the coronavirus as well. Numerous Republican senators and hanger-ons, stuff like that, who were at CPAC have been tested and have discovered that some of them had the coronavirus. That idiot in the White House threw a party last week at his Mar-a-Lago hotel, and about 3 to 4 people now have contracted the coronavirus. The president claims to have been tested and that it's been negative, so I really honestly don't believe him. I believe that he has the virus. He's just not showing it yet, or he's still going to get it because it's a 2 to 14 day gestation period, and it's only been about 7 days since he had his party, so he still could get it. People are now worrying about coronavirus in space because the Chinese are still making rockets get launched into space, and also maybe even delivered to Mars, which is just sort of like, you know what, that's just has trouble written all over it. So we'll have that story to be continued more often like that. Then there's idiots. Or not idiots, these are just mean people. There's a bunch of mean people now. This is one of them. A man who knew he had the virus decides to infect others by touching as many surfaces as he can so that others get infected. That just is a sick, twisted thing to do. I have no idea what that says. Oh, divorce rates. Okay. Divorce rates spike in China due to the lockdown. People having to, not work and stuff like that, and having to be quarantined with their loved ones, discover that, hey, maybe we don't like each other as much because we can't stand each other when we're around each other 24/7. So we'll see what happens with that. What is that? God, I can't even read most of my writing here. Oh, well, I can't read that thing. I don't know what the hell that says. I couldn't even tell you what that is. Sex toys show an uptick in sales in Italy, as does Pornhub is offering free premium memberships to the Italians till about early April, because they know that they are quarantined to their houses, do anything except masturbate or fornicate or whatever. So whatever. Something card episode of show. Talking dog. Something looks like Talking Dog Cards episode of show. I don't know what that says, so I'm not even going to go on with that. Mulan and the New Mutants have been taking off the schedule. Poor New Mutants have got no luck. They've had all kinds of issues about trying to get their movie out that's been made for 2 years now, and we thought we had a good release date, and then this comes along, and they want to get their money from China and stuff like that. And if they can't get the movie shown over there and get people out of their house to watch it, then why not wait till another year? So they have pushed it to next year and put it on the same date that they were going to do Fast and Furious 10, because they're filming 9 and 10 back to back. So now one of them is going to have to move potentially. So we'll see what happens. Talking Dog Counts episode of show. I have no idea what that says. Disney plans to add Frozen 2 to Disney Plus. It was not going to be released to Disney Plus for 3 months, but because people are going to be quarantined in the house, they've actually released it today. They weren't going to do it till tomorrow, but they released it early. So it is now, Frozen 2 is now presently on Disney Plus, which actually is pretty cool because I wanted to see it, and I was going to buy the DVD to watch. Now I can just go to Disney Plus and watch it straight from there, which is great. So I'm going to do that. Also, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, which wasn't going to be released on digital till I think next week, has released it on digital early for this week as well, so you can watch that early as well. So you got that going on. Disney Plus and Netflix original series have been shutting down, and movies have been shutting down due to the virus. That includes Stranger Things, Loki, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. All those shows have been shut down. Disney closed its doors in its history. So they're shut down now. Disneyland is giving away their extra food that they won't be selling during their closing to those who need it. Disney will also, I guess it's on another page, Disney is also going to be doing cosmetic updates, painting, fixing up certain things, cleaning Disneyland while it is closed. That way they'll be able to do it without anybody. Comcast to offer 2 months internet free to low income families who are affected by the coronavirus or affected being not available to go to work or be in quarantine, so like that. They're offering 2 months free. That's good of them. Production on The Bachelorette has been postponed as well. The AMC theaters will remain open, but they are going to keep to a 250 person maximum for their films, so no more than 250 people can go see a movie at one time. Libraries are closed starting Monday. We got to the library today. My daughter and son picked up a whole bunch of books. Now, the library is closing starting on Monday. So you can still go to the library on Sunday, but on Monday they're going to be closed. Now, if you have books that are due next week, you're not going to be able to return them. They're locking the 24-hour book drops because no one's going to be there to clean them up, and they don't want it to get jammed or piled up and be miserable when they come back. So they are locking those up, and they are waiving all late fees. So you just hold on to those books for a while longer. So our books are supposed they're only going to be shut down for 2 weeks, much like the schools. So they'll be reopening on the 30th of March. Louisiana postpones the Democratic primary. About doing is making it be a absentee ballot election. So you'd have to, instead of going to a Italian tenor sings Nessun Dormu from a building while quarantined. So he gave on Twitter, and it was beautiful because he was a lovely tenor. Talking Dead. That's what it is. Talking Dead cancels their episode of the Hansen was still going to continue to film during the outbreak, but then word came through today, late today, that they have now suspended their filming as well. So they're originally going to still be filming, but then they said, nah, we're going to take a break from that. Conspiracy theory time. Did the virus come from outer space? Did aliens drop it on us? No, I don't think so. A more plausible conspiracy is one that literally just popped into my head during a dream on Thursday night into Friday, I think, where I believe that it is a Russian conspiracy because Russia, along with Africa, are two of the only countries that have not had massive outbreaks of coronavirus, or I don't think any outbreaks of coronavirus. In at least Russia, I know that. Mexico has had very small amounts, so it could just be a southern hemisphere thing, even though Australia's had a couple hits there, and the out west, the western hemisphere aspect of it is a lot more hit there. But Russia's not been hit at all, which seems rather odd, wouldn't you think? And you start thinking about all the other things that's been going on. Putin threatening his government to do a unanimous change of their constitution so that he can remain president after 2024, basically making him a dictator for life for the most part. And there's been other stuff that I believe that they were the ones that actually created. We're going to have it released in China, and that way it would spread quicker. And with that moron in the White House, knowing full well everything that he's done and all the meetings he's had that have not been, telegraphed or whatever, I'm pretty sure probably that they discuss stuff like this happening. So basically, my feeling is that if the elections don't get canceled, the Democrats, and if the Democrats win the election, they do not take power till January 20th. So during that lame duck period would be a good time for them to attack. Or if through Russia's help, that asshole gets another 4 years, well, then there you go. You've got that going, so he can let you in that way. It's in Mar-a-Lago and in the White House and on the phone and in Russia that have not been, so we don't know what they're talking about. So in my opinion, I think they discussed some sort of handover or attack from Russia. So that's just my opinion. We'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong. This virus is weakening us, and if it doesn't get contained soon, could kill a whole mess of us as well. So to be continued. All right, so that's book one of coronavirus. All right, so I'll alternate again. So I'll do a little bit more of this regular stuff, and then I will do the rest of the show will be coronavirus stuff. So I was just talking about NASA. So let's continue with NASA here. NASA has created a gecko robot, which is a small robot that has the gecko type feet and can crawl into small locations and stuff like that. So they're able to create these little robots that can get into hard places to do what needs to get done. I think that's a pretty cool idea. Rats. We talked about how there are different types of genetic rats in New York. Uptown and downtown have two different types of genetic rats. Well, rats also feel empathy for each other. So if one of the rats is hurt or dying or hungry or whatever, other rats around them, that's kind of... What the hell is that? See another one that I can't read that. A Labrador Retriever takes the bus to and So the Labrador leaves his house, gets on the bus. The bus takes him to the park. He plays in the park by himself, gets back on the bus, and gets taken back to his house. So he knows how to get back to his house and where to get on and off. And I find that kind of amazing. A deep-sea worm-like crustacean has been named after the band Metallica. So that's pretty cool. New fusion lasers. New future tech uses lasers to bypass sun-like temperatures to get rid of nuclear waste. So a way to get rid of nuclear waste is that they have now is to shoot these special lasers at it that could help get rid of it without it causing any environmental damages. So that's pretty cool there. The Mrs. Doubtfire Broadway play first look has come in, and it looks horrifying. So I don't know if that'll be a musical that I will want to go see in the. So I don't know if that'll be a musical that I will want to go see in the theater. It looks absolutely awful. You know, it was the makeup test and the costume and the actors and stuff like that. It just doesn't look great. I don't know what this one is either. Jesus. You're going to have a roaring Godzilla humidifier, which is a new thing also. If you like Godzilla and, you know, you've ever seen it where he shoots does. The Mars rover may have found life on Mars, just microbial life, but they may have found it. And they also might have found white truffles. They released a picture, and it had all these little white marks on the ground, and people think that they might actually be white truffles. So if that's the case, the fact that something is growing on Mars is extraordinarily important. And the fact that if it's true about that, and if they actually found microbial life, that is amazing as well. I'm surprised it hasn't gotten much bigger story, but we'll see what that is. I found out this is an all-woman mariachi band is a thing now. They want to try to show that mariachis do not have to be just. Taco Bell is offering the 3-in-1 chalupa. You get 3 chalupas, but they're all connected into one big meal. So you get 3 chalupas in one. So it's like about this size, and it's 3 chalupas. So if you like chalupas from Taco Bell, well, there you go. Glow-in-the-dark hair is a thing under the black lights and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. God, what the hell is that? Avengers Campus opens in Disneyland. Hopefully, Disneyland's reopened by this time on July 18th. So, a actual like Avengers World will be opening in Disneyland, and Tom Holland will be doing the voice of the Spider-Man character there, via I guess television or animatronic or whatever. So hopefully, it'll be reopened and by that time, and you can be able to see the new Avengers Campus. My son loves Roblox. I mean, he's obsessed with Fortnite now, but he likes Roblox and still plays it occasionally. But now they have a new Roblox game now for the Doctor Who fan out there. You can play as the 10th Doctor, which is David, as the current 13th Doctor, the female one, in a game for Roblox. My son hasn't been interested enough to see it yet, but it might be intriguing to check out, particularly if you are a Doctor Who fan and you want to check out a kind of a neat game you can play on your computer. Roblox sexual assault charges like that, so he will be in prison for 23 years at least. So sometimes it does work. Justice does work, so that's good. Armadillo lizards look like baby dragons. They are lizards that have the armadillo scales and stuff like that, but they look like baby dragons. It's kind of cool. Starbucks is back with their green iced pineapple matcha drinks and yellow ginger drinks as well. So if you want some of that sounds more like spring sort of stuff. So if you want to get some of that spring sort of stuff, go for that also. Speaking of spring, this is actually more summer, but Bud Light is going to be releasing a lemonade lager this year. I know my brother-in-law Mike absolutely hates when they do fruit beers, and lemonade beer has been something that's been a thing for the last few years, but now Bud Light has a lemonade lager. Could be interesting. We'll see what happens. Double, what is this? It's like double chocolate mint, any of that. So that's kind of rough. The final Black Widow trailer came out, this week as well, showing more stuff with the Taskmaster, who looks more like he could be a fantastic and amazing bad guy this year in the new Black Widow movie ones ever. Hopefully it'll hold up, and it's looking pretty good. You could see some new stuff as well, and some of the old stuff as well. The best in show, a dog wins best in show, and so as the winner is announced, he gets to do judges. So it's like, yeah, you picked me as the best in show. Look at what I can do now. Haha! You can't do anything about it now. The first cat ever was fitted with 4 robotic legs or bionic paws. Poor cats have to go through. I hate that animals have to go through that kind of stuff. But if it's successful, you can give animals bionic, but not make them have some kind of life in there. But the first cat to have 4 bionic paws has been announced, or not announced, it has been made, and good on that. There's a corgi apartment. It's like a little glass container thing that your corgi can open the door and run inside, and has like a rug and sofa, and you put the food in there, and it can just it's not like you have crates for your dogs, but this could be something a bit more relaxing, I guess. It's a clear cube, so they can see all around them, and you can close the door on them, and I guess they have a way to get air in there so they don't suffocate. But they could live on the sofa or hang out on the carpet that they have there. So that's pretty cool. Some local news: Ravens defensive man Marshall Yanda, 13 years with the Ravens, his whole career with the Ravens, 8 Pro Bowls. Only 2 other players in the NFL have done that. He is calling it a career, and good on that. Mountain Dew Frostbite is the new Mountain Dew flavor. It has shown up on the Walmart website, which means you might only be able to get it at Walmart, but is not actually currently available in any stores right now. So no one knows what it tastes like or what it's about. So keep an eye out for Frostbite Mountain Dew. Nintendo and Lego announced on Mario, which is March 10th, that they will be making Mario Legos, Legos that are around the Super Mario Brothers games and characters and stuff like that. So Lego and them have teamed up for that. It was announced on that day. Krispy Kreme's back in the news just in time for St. Patrick's Day. They have St. Patrick's Day donuts. Because why not? Green donuts. Dunkin' has a Shamrock donut, but they have a dozen different St. Patrick's Day donuts you can get at Krispy Kreme. They're all green with all kinds of different things with them. So go ahead and get yours in the next couple of days. If they are still open. They should be, though. Starbucks is selling a chocolate-covered strawberry cold brew. So they keep creating new items, and I'm going to keep mentioning them. So get on in there and check it out. Death of a taxi driver in Mexico was blamed on the chupacabra, which is a blood-sucking goat creature, demonic-looking creature that has been part of Mexican folklore for years and has been spotted in the southwestern. Interesting story in and of itself. And if you're the police officer investigating this homicide, you must be going out of your freaking mind. Like, really? People believe a chupacabra killed him? Okay, great. That gives us no leads. Green tea for St. Patrick's Day. Keystone Light Beer will be paying $10,000 to try to find a new dog mascot for themselves. So if you believe your dog could be the new mascot for Keystone Light, which is not really a very good beer, but that's besides the point, go for it. You get $10,000 to get your dog, and your dog will become famous as the Keystone Light dog. So totally go for it. Dracula reboot movie will be done by the Blumhouse Productions, which keeps making all kinds of money, and it'll be directed by a female, which is kind of interesting. The woman who directed Jennifer's Body will be directing a Dracula reboot for Blumhouse, which those three things, all that is awesome. You know, a Dracula movie from Blumhouse, which is outstanding for their low-budget horror, directed by a woman. That's a fantastic story, and hopefully it'll be good. Charlie Sheen has been by Corey Feldman in his book, saying that Charlie Sheen sodomized Corey Haim between two trailers, I would guess during the making of Lucas in the early 1980s. According to Corey Feldman's new book, he goes into a little bit more detail about it because I guess he was on set, or Corey Haim told him about it. I'm not sure how much to believe it, but Charlie Sheen is no longer really relevant, as it were. He hasn't done anything in his movies. We haven't really heard anything about his AIDS or his, his issues he had back. Seems kind of out of place for Charlie Sheen to be doing this, but who knows with him and the way he is. Oh, that's what it is. Birth rates are plummeting, so less and less people are having kids, or more kids, as it were. I know a lot of people who are young, who are saying that, like young, but like I know somebody who's engaged at the age of 25 says they don't want to have children. There are other people who are in their upper 30s who can still have kids, saying they don't want to have kids. And just because of just the way the world is, the cost of it, the environmental issues, the political climate, it makes a lot of sense, but the birth rates are dropping, so that could become an issue down the line as well. So that's to be continued. I did my job. I had two, so we're good. A boy and a girl. Now it's up to them to do their job if they want to. As I said, they don't have to. It's up to them. If they want to not have kids, that's fine as well. It could be the new thing to do because of what's going on. Oh, Jurassic Park. That's what it is. Jurassic Park TV show coming is a possibility. It could be interesting, depend upon, I guess, how the Jurassic World sequel of next year plays out, and if they decide they want to do it. But if you want to do a weekly show about dinosaurs lays out, and if they decide they want to do it. But if you want to do a weekly show about dinosaurs attacking people in real life in the current times, that might be kind of interesting. So we'll see about that. Finally, sad news, Max von Sydow passed away this week. He was played in many movies, was in the first Star Wars film of the new trilogy that came out. He had a small role in that. He was in The Exorcist. He was made the film about death playing chess, and Max von Sydow was the guy that played chess with death. He also called The Greatest Story Ever Told. I was reading the Wikipedia on that the day he died, and that cast, the insane cast for that film, makes me almost want to see it. It was almost 4 hours long, and it's basically a retelling of the New Testament, really. But Max von Sydow was Jesus in that one. He also did the epic Hawaii with Julie Andrews, which is based on the he's a famous author. I can't think of his name. He wrote a whole bunch of books about locations. It's historical fiction. It was based on his book. So that's kind of an interesting thing. So Max von Sydow's done a lot of stuff. He was about 90 years old. So may he rest in peace. That was insane, crazy stuff. All right, here we are about an hour in, and we've got coronavirus part 2 coming up. So what else do we got going on with coronavirus? Rice University, Howard, Hopkins, Harvard, Stanford, canceling classes for a few weeks, are telling kids not to take extended spring break, or that they have to leave campus and not come back for a little while due to the virus. So that could become an issue for people. My favorite band, REM, which hasn't played together now for close to almost 10 years now. I think we're getting close to that. It might be less than that, but it's like maybe less than that, like between 10 and 12 years. We know it, and I feel fine because of the coronavirus stuff, but I thought that's kind of great that REM is back in the Billboard Top 100, so I think that's kind of funny. Production on the Little Mermaid live action film, the Home Alone remake, has been shut down as well. Mount Everest has been shut down as well, so you cannot climb Mount Everest anymore. NBC suspends production on Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers' late night shows. Princess Cruises will shut down their global ship operations for 60 days because the cruise ships have been the ones, 2 months, I should say. I'm sorry, 2 months. So that's interesting. Something phase 2 delayed. I don't know what that one is. Broadway has been shut down also. And because of that, the Actors Equity is calling for the government to give relief to theatrical workers because they are ones that don't have big money. They don't make big money. They do theater. That's all they do every day. And now they don't have a job, and they don't make a lot of money, so they're not going to be getting any money in because their shows aren't going on. So they need help to take care of themselves. The MGM Casino in Las Vegas is shutting down their free buffets for a while. A Waffle House has closed in the South as well, which is the sign of an Armageddon. You're stupid people. People are warning you that drinking bleach and doing cocaine and drinking massive amounts of alcohol will not kill the coronavirus. So please do not drink bleach, and please do not do cocaine, and please do not overindulge in your alcohol, because that will not kill the coronavirus. Italy's in all kinds of problems right now. But the good news is mortgage payments have been suspended in Italy, so you don't have to pay for your mortgage until this crisis is over. Carnival Row production has been shut down also. That show on Amazon with Orlando Bloom. The amount of kilometers you have to do to hatch eggs. So they're giving you something to do, but they're reducing the amount of kilometers you have to do to hatch eggs. So they're giving you something to do, but they're canceling the community day for this week. Quiet Place 2 has been delayed as well. That movie's been delayed as well. Black Widow has not been delayed yet, but if the longer this goes on, the possibility that Black Widow may be moved also is a very real possibility, so we'll see about that. Our weekend has been canceled as well. Peter Rabbit 2 has been delayed to August. Strip clubs are giving away free face masks and alcohol. Doing cocaine or drinking bleach will not kill coronavirus. All trips to Europe have been suspended for 30 days. Then a national emergency has been declared in the United States. So COVID-19 cancels hockey, which is like Canada's lifeblood. So what do they do to get revenge on it? A Canadian lab in Saskatchewan has created a vaccine in its early stages. So they are just creating, but they've actually created a vaccine. They're just working on to make sure that it's running, and it could be done sooner than later. So you cancel their hockey, they're going to cancel your disease. So that's kind of a neat little story. Psychic Sylvia Browne, who I think passed away a few years ago, has written a number of books. And in one of her books from 2008, there was a passageway which talked about a virus hitting in 2020, but coming on quickly, but then disappearing quickly, and then coming back a few years later really quickly, and then disappearing for good. So a lot of people believe that they were talking about this since it was a virus and it's 2020. But so far, it's been the first signs of coronavirus was December 31st. Here we are, March 14th. That's not quite right away. So we'll see what happens with that. A Taiwan student has created a Lego hand sanitizer dispenser that they use all the time. Ireland is canceling all St. Patrick's Day, which is a shame since it's a big holiday. So Ireland will be no longer doing their St. Patrick's Day stuff this year. Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune have been filming their episodes without a studio audience. A Christian mega church cancels Faith Healing, which doesn't make sense, because if you are promoting, faith healing as curing your virus, then you shouldn't be canceling it now, should you? Or is it all just a big scam? CVS will deliver pharmaceuticals and drugs to people who are self-quarantining, so they do not have to come out of the house, and they will drop them off on the outside of the door so they don't have to come in. So that's kind of a good thing. An amusement arcade game, one of those claw games, is trolling everybody by making a claw game have as prizes hand sanitizer and toilet paper. So that's kind of funny. And then finally, the last bit of coronavirus news for the week. This is all stuff that I did about 5-10 minutes before I started the show. So this is the most current up-to-date stuff. I can't even. Witcher Season 2 claims they are still filming. We'll see how long that goes. Whatever. We'll go on forever. Walmart and other supermarkets, probably not just in my area. This is where the store was for my area, but in other areas as well. Walmarts and other supermarkets, ones that have claimed to be open 24 hours, 7 days a week, or have late hours, whatever, they're shutting down early today to clean the store thoroughly and restock it so that people come in tomorrow, it'll be clean, no possible threats of the virus, and restock of toilet paper, food, and all that stuff. Because it's going to take time, and it's hard to do when you're constantly running around doing stuff. Like when I went to the grocery store on Friday, I used the self-checkout line, and the self-checkout line I had literally hardly any bags left. No one had come to refill the bags, so they've been so busy doing stuff. So now a lot of these shops have probably already stocking as we speak. So tomorrow, if you need to go out and you need to get something, you haven't got anything out there, or you are free, or you missed out on getting other stuff, go to your local grocery stores or Walmarts, whatever, see if they have something for you. They're cleaning and they are restocking, so they should have their stuff for you there. Some asshole kid thought he'd make a quick buck off of this coronavirus. So what he did is he went to a bunch of dollar stores in poor and rural areas, bought up all of the hand sanitizer there for $1, and then was going to try to sell it for a huge markup on Amazon and eBay. But Amazon and eBay are like, not so fast. So now he's bought about stock and hand sanitizer from places that, poor people and elderly people and rural people would go to buy the stuff, and they go there and it's not there, and then that's pissed off, and try to jack up the prices on it for people who need that things or are paranoid about it. What a tool. What a fucking asshole, to excuse my French. Speaking of the French have closed cafes, theaters, cinemas, clubs and restaurants. So there's that. Fantastic Beasts 3 is still scheduled to begin filming next month, despite the coronavirus stuff, so we'll see about that. The box office for this week has had the worst box office week in 22 years, considering that most people were staying home due to fear of the virus. At the same time, you can't go out and say, well, these movies are flops. No, they really aren't. If we didn't have just think about the situation. No one went to see movies. No one's probably going to go next week. Hell, they've canceled a bunch and moved a lot of the ones. So there's really going to be like no new. Just think about the situation. No one went to see movies. No one's probably going to go next week. Hell, they've canceled a bunch and moved a lot of the ones. So there's really going to be like no new movies in movie theaters anyway. So we'll see what happens. The Metropolitan Opera is going to shut their doors, but the free streaming of their live performances, you can get it, their HD collection. So if you need your opera fix, you can actually get it for free through to the United States, because they have had very few of the coronavirus incidents, and they want to keep it that way. So I just find that hugely ironic and actually good for them. Show that, racist son of a bitch of the what for. So good on that. So the final story for today, coronavirus related. I told you the NBA is shut down for their season, so they're not going to play anymore this year. Same with the NHL. Well, an NBA player says, hear us out. They're thinking of doing a NCAA tournament style postseason for the NBA instead of the typical NBA schedule you do. So basically what they're planning to do is if you reinstate the NBA and you decide to do this, the teams will play 5 games, regular games, to end their seasons. And then they will, and wherever they end up after those 5 games, then they will be seeded. Remember, the NCAA tournament has close to 68 teams. The NBA only has about 31 or 32. So basically they're saying 31, I think. All 31 teams will compete in this tournament. So you get the NCAA tournament has been canceled. You have bracketology. The NBA has been canceled. So you combine them. So they say, so what happens is then the lowest seeds, like 31-30, 28-29. So basically, let's say 28 plays 31, 29 plays 30 in the playing games. And you can see them depending upon their records and using the NCAA style of way of seeding people. So then 28, say, plays 31, 29 plays 30, and playing games at a neutral site. And the winners of those games then get seeded in the next tournament. Now, instead of it being 1 game, they're saying these playing games should be 3 games, I think. So best 2 out of 3 wins, and then the winners of that advance to the tournament, and the losers are done for the year. The first 4 seeds, whatever, they have a bye week, and then you seed everything else accordingly. So 2 plays 28, 3 tournaments at a neutral site, or 3 and 2 or something like that. And then you go to the next level and have a Sweet 16 or whatever. They play each other in a 7-game tournament, and that drops it down to a 4-game thing. They play each other in a 7-game tournament, and then you have your final 2, and they play for the championship. That way, every basketball team gets a chance to make it into the playoffs. If the 31 gets hot at the right time and they win 2 out of 3 games over the 28, they'll be seeded in the 28s out of the competition. It's an interesting way, and it's a way to connect the NBA with the NCAA. But as I said, it just adds a ton of games and pushes it all the way into summertime. So we'll see what happens. And that is it for this week's St. Patrick's Day viral coronavirus episode. Next week, we'll see what happens. If we're going to continue with coronavirus, obviously everything's on lockdown, shut down, things are going on. So we'll see what happens. Next week will probably be a lot more coronavirus stories, or they might be edging out and we'll get some other stories, or it might be a small episode depending on what happens. So we'll see what happens over the next week. Hopefully everyone's going to be safe out there. Hopefully it's not going to be a lot of death by this. Actually, hopefully that, it's going to start, the virus is going to start disappearing soon. But you know what? You're still alive right now. You might be on lockdown, but you can still go out and have a good time. If it's good weather, you can go for walks, That's going to stop you doing that. You can read more. You can do streaming. You can write. You can draw. You can, enjoy your family. A lot of us still have to go to work. I still have to go to work when my work isn't shut down. We still, people still have to go to work, and, don't go crazy for, grocery store stuff, because they will get stuff back in stock. It's not like, with snow, it's like, oh, we're never going to be able to get it back in because the snow is going to block off the roads and the trucks are going to be able to get it replenished. No, they've probably got trucks there right now. They're dropping off Fresh Smart. Wash your hands. Check on the elderly and people who are susceptible to sicknesses to make sure they're okay. Be a good person, and just keep doing your best, okay? And be safe out there, everyone. Enjoy your St. Patrick's Day. Go buy some liquor from the liquor store. If you want to go, I wouldn't recommend maybe going out to a bar, but hey, you might be able to have your own little party at home. Get some corned beef and cabbage, and drink your beer and watch some watch some Irish movies, read Irish books, whatever, sing Irish songs, whatever. Enjoy yourself. So let me see. Do I have a good Irish song I can go to? And I do have a playlist. If you really want to get into it, I will post my playlist later, my St. Patrick's Day playlist later. So if you really want to get into the spirit of things, get into that. Let's see. Can I find a good one? Oh, yeah, here's a good one. There we go. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. I'm waiting for the drums to be done. Here we go. Waiting Ned Divine, Secret of Rowan Inish, The Clan, Patriot Games, The Fugitive, Darby O'Gill and the Little People. All kinds of Irish movies out there singing Loch Erin Shore. Thanks, everybody. Be safe, and happy St. Patrick's Day, and be safe out there.